All right, we have Jim
Kennemer.
Jim Kennemer from Cosmo Sourcing.
Yeah.
So we had a pleasure. He spoke here at the Global Sources Summit, and it was great to meet. He's spent a couple years in China, but then you jumped into Vietnam in 2014, which is pretty early on, and spent time there. And you're really diving. You're going like all in on Vietnam, right?
Yeah, just within the last 6 months. Yeah, I lived 2 years in China and then moved to Vietnam in 2014. In the last 6 months, with the tariffs, I more or less put my China operations on pause.
Wow.
Just kept the existing clients, no new clients.
Okay.
And been 100% on Vietnam. And
nice.
Been great, overwhelming. Demand's booming, but it's been really great.
So we can't fit your whole speech in this quick clip, but I think just some of the pros and cons of Vietnam, maybe compared to China?
Yeah, I think one big thing is everybody's used to China just being a one-stop shop where you can just get anything and everything that's made in China. It can be made. Vietnam, you really got to be selective and kind of pick a few product categories that Vietnam specializes in and kind of zero in and target those.
Got it. How about, I think a lot of MOQs are higher?
Generally, it's the way the suppliers work is kind of different tiers. So we're actually kind of talking about, and there are smaller shops that can hand make stuff, and so those are really low MOQs, but you can't scale up with them. So if you do have success, they kind of top out at like a few hundred.
Okay.
And then the bigger factories are like 1,000, 2,000 plus. And so there kind of is a gap. So like we were doing samples for one person. He wanted like a 50-run test run, so we had to hand make the first 50 and then couldn't start a production line until he had ordered a few thousand.
Got it.
So it was really kind of challenging with that.
I think it's also just the infrastructure and the logistics, right? Is probably a little bit more complicated and expensive, slower.
I wouldn't say more expensive. Shipping's a little bit more, not drastically so. But yeah, the part is slower. And I think one thing too is mentioned that components are shipped from China, so when you do production, especially on the first run, you need to actually factor in another 30 days for the components to be shipped from China to Vietnam to be incorporated. So lead times generally, it varies by product and kind of first run or second run, but roughly 25-ish% slower.
Got it. So like, there's probably some people watching today.
Hope so.
I hope to, but I mean, they're thinking like, I'm in China, I got my mold, or I got my production, I like my factory, I got my, what can they do?
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? That's the question. But it's hard to say with the tariffs if they're going to go away or not, because everything has been last minute. For all we know, like Trump could announce on a tweet, tariffs are over, trade deal.
I made a deal,
Yeah, and so it's really your opinion on China's long-term value versus Vietnam's long-term value. So you really need to think more than a year. Like, what do you think is going to happen in 2020 and beyond?
Okay.
But yeah, if you're happy with your supplier, it's really hard to say, we're going to take a risk and find you who knows what.
I guess you could, it doesn't hurt to, I guess
it doesn't hurt to look though.
Time and resources, but it doesn't mean you have to do it, but you should.
No, we absolutely look for people, and we do validation so we can actually get quotes from suppliers so we can actually use it to compare that. So if you don't want to move and just find out the conditions in Vietnam, we can absolutely help people with that.
Yeah, I think we're going to get back in the seminar, but how can people find you? Cosmo Sourcing?
Yeah, cosmosourcing.com.
With a C, C-O-S-M-O.
Yep.
All right, great. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and also check out our Instagram at Global From Asia. Thanks again, and see you soon.
E-commerce, like over 8 years.